to the greatest show where I get to show up the greatest people and have way too much fun doing it. My special guest today is Rudrani. Devi. Yes,
Devi.
you. Yes. Devi, that's it.
Girl, I was so dancing to that music. That was like fabulous. I'm sure you guys were hitting it's like disco mama time. So anyway, yes, hi. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much for being here. So today's show is all about happiness, and dare I say, choosing happiness. Especially over the last year, a lot of people. Oh, there it comes. A lot of people would say that their happiness is depleted or their happiness has been stolen. They've lost so much, their wage, they've lost their health. Like there's like this energy going out there, right? How can my happiness survive? So I love that you're here. Yeah, that's how I know. It's very dramatic, beautiful. So I would love to start off just speaking about. So what do you know about, is happiness a byproduct of your circumstance? Is there like some secret formula, or is it actually truly a choice?
Well, it does say choosing happiness on the cover of my book. So
it does say
I
that.
would have to go with it's just choice. But, I've learned that there are a lot of people that really enjoy choosing not to be happy. I mean, they even make a game of it. So, oh, you think that's bad? Well, this happened to me, and so byproduct of your circumstances, that's also choice. If that's what you want to make it about, that's my interesting point of view about that. I mean, I can give you a little story if you'd like.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I got a little story. It goes like this. I was on the dating apps for a while. This was pre-COVID. And there was this one guy that popped up in my feed that I had seen him before, but I never had felt the energy to actually pursue or whatever, because this is one of those where I get to choose.
Yeah. Yes.
And he's a cute enough guy, right? He's probably about 15 years younger than I am. And we matched suddenly. And I'm thinking, okay, I always use these tools in Access Consciousness. Will this be easy? Will it be fun? Will I learn something? Will I be happier afterwards? Will it be a contribution? And for the first time,
happy word.
There it is.
There it is.
And so it popped for all of them. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go meet this guy. And I normally do a coffee date, but he lives like an hour away. So we met at a bar for a cocktail, and he comes in and he starts to go into all these things about his back being hurting and I'm thinking, he's a really cute guy and he hikes and all this stuff. He's got all these ailments. That's the first thing he wants to tell me about, right? And then suddenly in my feed on my phone, because I had it laying there, it pops up that my book is now available in Portuguese. So I literally made this sound, like that. And he's like, what? What's that about? So I told him my book, it's got translated in Spanish and now it's available in Portuguese. I'm so excited. And what's your book about? So this is where the can of worms comes in. I tell him, choosing happiness, an uncommon way to find joy in your life. I got the light there's kind of blocking it. But he's like, oh, that's bullshit. You can't choose happiness. And I went, well, that's an interesting point of view. And, he started to tell me about what about people that are born in poor places, and if there's a disaster that happens and they lose everything, all the things. And so what about Oprah? And he goes, oh yeah, that's because she's Black and she's a woman. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know. Why in the world did I match with this guy? I'm thinking, it is easy and fun for me, because I'm not going to cut my arms and legs off to align and agree with his point of view about happiness. So I finally thought, well, I guess I'll pull out the Mumbai story and tell him about what happened to me. And if I can choose happiness with everything that's happened, then surely he'll get that it's possible, that it's actually a choice, because a lot of people don't know they can choose it. So I guess that creates a bit of a conundrum, because now I have to tell my story, don't I?
Now you have to tell your story.
Once upon a time, I was following a guru, and I went to India with this big meditation group. And we were these crazy meditators. We're always like meditating our brains out, if you can imagine. And we'd been looking at ashrams and all day, and we came back for dinner. It was quite late. And all of a sudden we heard this pop, 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 pop sound. And my friend next to me said, I'm going to go see what that's about. So he goes out And one of the people working in the hotel says, "Oh, it's just a bunch of hooligans with firecrackers. Don't worry about it." So he comes back, tells us that, sits down, and I could have counted to 10. And then suddenly there was automatic gunfire, and 2 terrorists came in, mowing the place down. And I just had this knee-jerk reaction. I said, "Everyone get under the table." And so there were me and 7 others at my table. We all got under the table. 2 were still killed. The rest of us shot. And everybody else in the restaurant was killed. So finally, I hear a voice from behind a door saying, "If you want to survive, you have to come now." And I just threw my arms up and said, "Drag me," because I realized that my tricep had been shot out and my right femur was bleeding through the pants and all this. So they dragged me out of there. And, needless to say, I didn't bleed out. I'm still here. There's a lot more story. That's my first book, Soul Survivor. If you guys are interested, or you can just Google my name. You'll get 250,000 hits about all of that. So, can't hide. Anyway, so I tell him that story and he softens. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is the reason why I'm connecting. He may not be a match, but maybe it's just this connection I have to help this guy out. So he's like, "Oh, now I want to give you a hug," and blah, 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 blah. So we keep talking about it. And eventually he gets really upset again. And he goes, "You're really being an asshole." Da, da, da. He's like screaming at me. And I am so elated because I'm this rock in the stream taking it. I'm like, he's entitled to his interesting point of view. I'm not going to change mine. I'm not going to be an asshole about it. But, so finally he slams his hands down and said, "You're making this very difficult." Da, da, da. I'm thinking, what just happened to this guy? So I just got up, put on my coat, grabbed my purse, and said, "I can appreciate this lively conversation, but I can see it's really upsetting you. So I think I'm going to leave now." And I walked out. Everybody started applauding.
Wow.
I got in my car and I'm like talking to my car, "Bianchini, you're not going to believe it. It was easy. It was fun. I did learn something that I'm not going to cut my arms and legs off. That, some people really don't want to choose happiness. And you know what? That's okay." It's just, and so, I think it's a choice to be cranky pants. It's a choice to be happy. Sometimes I choose to be cranky pants and I really invest in it until it makes me laugh. And then I'm happy again. I'm kind of coined the happy lady. I guess there could be worse things to be called,
Yeah. Well, the couple questions are popping now. One is, and you said this at the very beginning, some people choose, like even choosing to be cranky pants, and they love it. So isn't that also a sense of, aren't you happy?
Well, now, I guess in some ways that could be considered a form of happy. I wouldn't choose happiness in that way. It's like some people are happy when they hurt themselves.
Yeah.
Some people are happy when they hurt others. And maybe it's authentic to them. I find that to be very interesting point of view, or that's how I'd work my way out of that one. Interesting point of view to have that point of view. Interesting point of view to have that point of view. I mean, I remember one time I was in Pilates class and these women were talking about how upset they were that the husband in this commercial would just go out and buy a car for his wife for Christmas without even considering her in the decision. And I thought, wow, so funny. And I spoke up. I said, I'll take a car with a big bow on it from anybody. I don't care who it is. And they don't even have to talk to me about it. And they looked at me like I don't know, like I was some kind of mutant or something. What are you doing on this planet? Because surely he should include her in all the decisions. And I thought, well, possibly that is a big purchase, but what a lovely gift to give somebody. And if it makes you happy, I know for me personally, when I gift people, I think I'm getting more out of it than they are, just to see them smile, or that gets my happy on anyway.
Yeah. So this story, Mumbai, obviously you had to recover, like your body had to heal from the wounds. There was the loss of friendship. Did you have a sense of like being able to choose happy through that whole experience? Or was it something that you actually gained through that experience?
I have always been the glass half full lady anyway. And I already had some tools of access. I hadn't done a deep dive in access, but I was first introduced in 2003. And it was during the time I was healing. My ex left me. He started a family with somebody else and then left me. So, I didn't have his support, and that was about a year in. I had to be at physical therapy 3 times a week. I could drive before I could walk. So I would roll up to the car with the walker in between my legs, and I'd have to put the walker up, and then I'd pull myself into the car, and then I'd pull the wheelchair up. It was this crazy thing, but I felt like, that was my job, was to get well. And everybody was always so nice to me. Maybe they felt sorry for me. I really, in retrospect, I look back and people see a young-ish woman in a wheelchair.
Totally.
Oh, honey, we know your story. They're like petting my, you know what I'm saying? But I think because I already had the tools, it was kind of cool to see how they worked when I became them, when I started using them. It took 2 years of physical therapy and all kinds of crazy therapies that I tried, and cleansing, and I was on steroids for that whole time. And it was just nuts. Everything that my body went through. I'm a kind of a small frame person, and I put on over 35 pounds just from the steroids and wasn't eating. It's just a stress. And so then I cleanse. But every time I did these things, I felt like I don't know how to say it. Like I was like a breakthrough. Like the first time I could actually put weight on my foot. Oh my gosh. It was the first time I could actually sit on the floor. I cried. I was so happy because I could never get down to the floor.
Wow.
And, I never saw more belt buckles in my life. I'd never noticed people's belt buckles before. When you're in a wheelchair, that's your POV. And I can remember mentioning things like that. But the reason why even the book happened was because I wrote Soul Survivor, and then about what had happened in India. And then I trained and ran the Boston Marathon. And so here I was running around with these 2 books. For the Love of Running was the second book. And Adidas had heard my story and gave me a hard luck pass to run the Bostons, and I was training for it when I got shot. But the question I got most was, why are you so happy? You lost everything. You had to close your business. You almost lost your house. You couldn't work for 2 years. Fortunately, I had some property that I could sell, and that's what I lived off of. Divorce, he starts, why are you so happy? And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's these tools. And then I was texting Gary during a class, which no one should ever do.
Gary is the founder. For those of you that don't know, Gary is the founder of Access Consciousness.
I'm such an asshole sometimes. Yeah. Well, because it just popped into my head. Finally, the book started whispering to me, and I said, what would it take for me to write an access-friendly book for people that are not access?
Yeah.
And he said, choose, bitch. And I went, okay, that's permission. I'll write the book. And then one day it just said to me, okay, take a week off. And I thought, okay, I'll get started. And the book wrote itself in 1 week. And it's really all plagiarism because it's all access tools, but it's done in a way where I'm using myself as the example. I'm not buying the story. I'm not aligning, agreeing, or resisting, or reacting to the stories. It's just, hey, this is the way you can use the tools. This is the way maybe you don't use the tools. And so people that are in access that really can't describe what it is, because how could anyone really describe what it is? And a family member is worried that they joined a cult or something. Who knows? They can go, hey, read this. This is what I'm involved in. If you really care, I thought it was a 90-minute read, but now I've done an audio, and that's actually 2 hours and 30 minutes. So, maybe I read slower out loud than I do in my head. but it's a very quick read and very pragmatic tools. There's nothing woo-woo about it. And there's even this nice little meditation in the back, which is really just the expanding out exercise. You can just scan it right there. So you all scan.
Very cool. You're letting them scan. That is generous. That's nice.
And it's just me sitting in my bathroom because that's where the acoustics were great. And I just did the little thing and fun. So anyway.
Something else, which is really a really cool, different way of being. So someone in that exact same scenario could be like, you talked about like the joy you had of being able to sit. You said like, oh, I could sit on the ground.
Yeah.
And you cried, right?
Yes.
Someone else in that same scenario could be like, they sit on the ground and they could be like, oh, this is only as far as I am. Oh, this is so frustrating. Oh, this sucks that this happened to me. Right?
Well, yeah, I guess thank you. I'm going to acknowledge that. I will tell you that shortly after I thought, am I going to be able to get up off the ground?
That makes sense.
And I literally had to get on my side and sort of inch my way to the couch and sort of pull my body back up because I had no twitch muscles, and I still don't in my right leg. So I just tell my body what to do, and it does it. I mean, I ran the Boston. It took me 5 hours, which was my worst time ever. And I'd only trained up to, I think, I don't know, 14 or 15 on my treadmill because we had piles of snow, of course, in 2011 when I chose to run it. So I couldn't train outside. So I'm training on a treadmill where and it's teaching me how to walk again. I had a toothpick leg and then I had the regular leg. And then by the time I ran the Boston, there was only an inch difference between the legs. And I could walk normally again. I used to lift my leg into the car and I did it so swiftly. Nobody ever noticed that I was just lifting my leg in. It was like, I did all those things, I was just happy to have a leg, guys.
Yeah.
I had to keep my leg and my arm, real. And I had a bullet graze my neck. They had to put a tube in so I could breathe. For a while. So it was very close to knock, 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 knocking on heaven's door, like that. So sorry, I had to burst into song because I am a singer.
I know. I love that, actually. I was wondering if I could work in your singing capacities, and you did it for me. So I think.
You're so welcome. I should have promoted this live with sometimes when I'm promoting a show or whatever, I'll find a song that has to do with the theme, and then I'll just sing it, and all these people pop out, and I'm like, and I'm going to be doing this show or this thing, or so.
Oh, I love it.
When it pops, it pops.
Yeah. Okay. So let's speak for a minute to the people that are looking at, okay, I notice my pathways. I always go to the negative. I go to the glass half empty. I go to I want to change this. Where do I start?
Well, now that's very interesting. The starting is just leaping. If you're going to start, just fucking leap. If you're really going to choose it for real, because the universe knows the difference. I used to say I was choosing classes, but in the back of my mind, I'd be going, when the money shows up, or, or when this happens. And the difference now is I go, I'm fucking having this. It's happening. And then amazingly, I get a client from out of nowhere, or, a check shows up. I have an essential oil company, and this happened where I wanted to take a class, and a woman ordered one of each of my essential oils, and I have like 35 of them. So it's like $2,500 order, and I went, oh my gosh, there's my money for the class. But when you choose, then you can actually create it, because choice creates. If you don't choose it and you're waiting for, the money to show up or the perfect guy to show up or gal or house or, I have this clunker car, I really need all those things. You can use those for excuses. But if you're really serious about change, about getting happy or anything, you're going to have to fucking take the leap of faith and do it. And I mean faith in you and knowing that you have your back and the universe has got your back. If you really mean it. If you're fake choosing, universe knows the difference,
So you could be like,
point of view.
Yeah. So you could be like, I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't maybe have 1, 2, 3 steps, but I'm choosing happiness. I'm just leaping it. I'm choosing it.
Well, it's interesting because how is not really a question.
Yeah.
How is this going to occur? If you choose it. I mean, that's like, word. It's, that's how that works, man. It's like, it took me a while to really get it. And when I really got it was when I was texting Gary, not in class. I was driving and texting. So that's
naughty.
I know. Naughty Rudrani. Anyway, I was driving to Paducah, Kentucky, where I teach classes periodically, and I wasn't a CF yet. And the lady that was hosting me had been to a couple of the classes where I'd hosted CFs. She's going, why are you not doing this? You know more than they do. Because I would end up, kind of co-teaching anyway. And so I'm driving the CF certification, Certified Facilitators class in Costa Rica. Y'all, it's 12 days away. And I'm texting him going, what would it take for me to get there? And he goes, don't stop asking that question. And I knew that I was going to have to just really choose it. So I got there. I taught a meditation class that night. And the next morning we did bars, which is what the first modality class in Access. And then the next day we were going to be doing some different body processes because I couldn't teach foundation yet. Wasn't a certified facilitator.
Yeah.
But people there really wanted to take foundation from me. So I messed up and I said, listen, I'm thinking about doing this, but it's going to cost me this much money. I need my ticket to get there, all the things. So everybody in the class, just about everybody, it's like all but 2, I think, either paid for the class in full or paid a deposit so I could get there and pay for it.
Whoa. So they were prepaying for a foundation class with you.
Now, see, and I want you guys to know that that's a miracle, and you've got to acknowledge miracles like that. All I did was choose. I put it out there, and then the universe said, "Okay, we're gonna infuse their brains with, hey, why don't we just go ahead and pay for this class because she'll come and teach it," which I did within 3 weeks of becoming CF. Wow. And he said, "This is the best foundation class I've been to. You're amazing." And then that's when I got my happy on with becoming more of a teacher. And now I'm a right voice for you facilitator. I'm also a relationship done different facilitator, which, oh my gosh, that makes me so happy to see people actually choosing something different in relationship, because how many happy people do you know in relationships? So, you know, it can be different. People, you can actually choose for your entire life. You can infuse happy into every part of your life. It's as easy as choosing it, leaping it. Really, I'm going to use the word want, although I don't particularly care for it. You've got to really want it before you can be it. You know? Or fake it till you make it if you have to. I mean, maybe I'm lucky. I have a sister who's bipolar. Not so lucky. Yes, she takes meds, all the things. But I've got to tell you, one of the biggest successes I've had is getting people off of their pain medications and off of their bipolar meds and those types of things, because they really wanted to choose it. And bars and a lot of the other fabulous tools of access were there to help me facilitate that. So if you really want it, you can get it. You can get your happy on. You know, you can get out of the funk. You don't have to choose realities. Choosing, people. I mean, look at this reality right now. It's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yep. So that brings me back to the byproduct of circumstance. So when I have all this in place, I can be happy. And it's really the opposite. It's if I choose happiness, my circumstances might change. And even if they don't, it's okay because I'm still happy.
True story, sister.
Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. We're going to go to our game soon, but I was wondering if there's any other questions that you play with to kind of increase your happiness that you'd want to give to anyone? Like
one of my favorites is what's right about this? I'm not getting. I got a great example for you, because I'm not in my home. I'm in one of my best friend's homes. It's lovely. She offered it up to me. It was like this morning. I went, oh my goddess, I forgot that, you know, there was this hailstorm. We're going to have all these storms. Nashville's really just can't get a break lately, Pod and Pock. Anyway, so 30-year roof that I put on 3 years ago, at least I thought so, when I gutted and redid my house, got terrible hail damage. So everybody's going, oh, you poor thing. I went, no, I've got insurance. This is great. So, you know, but what's right about this, I'm not getting. Well, the guy I talked to, he says, you know, you're such a sweet lady. I'm going to bump you to the front because I know you're leaving town soon. And because it was leaking every time it would rain. So he moves it up. I didn't look at the dates. It happens to be on Thursday. What's right about this, I'm not getting. And they start pounding on the roof, and they find where my contractor kind of screwed me, where there were rotten boards that he did not replace. And so eventually they were going to go through anyway. So even with a 30-year roof, underneath that paper, there's all this wood that's basically fucked up. So they're having to replace all that as well. And now I'm going to have a brand new 30-year roof that the guy that put in my gutter guard put him in wrong. I get all that brand new, all that stuff for $1,000. And so it's like, I asked the question, what's right about this? I'm not getting. And the universe is like, well, you don't know this, but your roof's really fucked up. And so we sent some hail over there so that you got to replace the whole thing. And then you won't, you know, have this bigger expense in like 5 years. And I don't know if the universe actually has that kind of voice. It really whispers to me.
But that was cute.
I'm the universe, and this is how it goes. So anyway, so that's one of them I like to use a lot. There's another, and the two really simple ones are, how does it get any better than this? Whether you find a bag of money or you stub your toe, you want it to get better, right? So how does it get any better than this? And then what else is possible now? It's like when I choose something and it doesn't work out the way I think it's going to. So I'm, you know, how does it get any better than this? And then I choose something else. And I'm like, well, what's right about this? I'm not getting, because that's not getting me there either. And so I feel like I've kind of hit a brick wall. And that's when what else is possible now really helps. And then you live your life. What else is possible now? You let it go, let the universe deal with it. And it's amazing how quickly these things work themselves out. And I don't have to go into this, because I'm a head tripper. Not so much anymore. I don't think I have a brain anymore, actually. It comes right down to it.
Actually, I lost it.
Well, I'm so happy. It's about woman. No, anyway. So I don't know. Those are a few tools, but those are such simple ones. And amazing. I know where you can find them.
In that book!
This little yellow book. Yeah, see?
You guys can Google that. Yeah, but we also have a link in the description directly to that book. We have a link to you. So please, guys, if you want more of this is just the beginning. Check it out. Check out the book.
I've got lots of classes coming up too, you guys. So come play with me. I really, I'm very immature, so it's a lot of fun.
Perfect. And you do online classes as well for people that can't travel. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So in Greatest Show, thank you so much for being here. This is like so much fun. So we're going to end the show with a game as per usual. Yeah. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be silly and ridiculous, and that's how I like things. So
game.
The game is called Insert This. So this is how the game works. We're each going to be giving a list of 7 words, and our target is to infuse these words into a conversation as naturally as possible. We're both going to get text our own set of words. I'm not going to know yours. You're not going to know mine. And let the games begin.
I know what one of these words means.
Well, that's awesome.
I will say this, though. I'm just going to start with an easy one. I really hate sloppy joes, and it's not because they're sloppy. I don't even get it why they call them sloppy joes, because who's Joe? And sloppy to me is like, like this, but it's this really weird sandwich that is very popular in the South. It's like hamburger meat and ketchup on bread.
Wow. Yep.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I've never actually had one, but I've always been like, well, that's bodacious, like that's a bodacious kind of food creation there. So
what you mean. Yeah, I do remember once I saw that movie. Oh my gosh. Now I'm trying to remember. It wasn't Pretty Woman, but it was the one after it that Julia Roberts was in, where she ends up dying. Oh gosh, this is really getting sad all of a sudden. Oh. They're all eating sloppy joes around the table, and it was a mess, and the whole thing. Anyway, yeah. A lot of people say I look like Julia Roberts when I was younger.
Oh yeah,
curly hair. Yeah,
I love her, and I love your hair. Do you have to blow? Do you have to use a hair dryer all the time for your hair?
I actually, wow. I don't. In fact, I never even brush my hair. It's like I wash it, and then I let it dry on its own. I put the stuff in, and then I do these little snaky curls, like snake curls with this. I can't believe I'm giving my secret away. They have this little machine you clamp onto, and it goes, and then you pull it out. So it gets rid of all the frizz. And then the next day I just put in, a little bit of a moisture, and then it's springy again. So yeah, like that. Sometimes it looks more like breadsticks, because if it dries all the way or not, because the breadsticks will be a little longer, and then the snake curls are more tight. But it just depends on product and how wet it is. So.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes me, I don't know, breadsticks made me think of like LL Cool J. Right? And like I always loved his music videos. And you used to do.
I did too. He was always smacking bubble gum though whenever he did interviews, and that always annoyed me. But I did know a lot of that in early rap. And I actually do rap a little too, by the way, you guys. If you want to go to my what's it called? Oh my gosh, maybe I should give you the link to my site for my music. I wrote a song called Get on the Dance Floor, where I actually rap in the song. I mean, it's white girl rap, but it's one of my favorites. And
I'm excited.
Yeah. Maybe I'll give you a sample. I don't know. But I don't know. It might bamboozle you all. And then what are we going to do? You're going to be like, I don't know about this girl.
Yeah. It's like I'll need a sponge to like pick myself up again.
All right. Just let me spank you with my music, girl.
And then my milk will shake.
This has been the weirdest conversation. Words like these, I mean, the giveaway was definitely Sloppy Joe, but I've gotten through all mine. I don't know about you. And Julia Roberts.
I feel like I've been lollygagging a little bit with these shenanigans, so I'm a little behind. But I just completed my list.
Okay, all right.
That was awesome.
I think I did okay.
You did great.
Yeah, so get on the dance floor. He was holding up the wall with his friends. Everybody was looking so cool. And then he looked my way, and I could tell that he was nobody's fool. And then leaned in hard. You got to hear the whole song. But there's like, I love to sing like Aretha Franklin and Patti LaBelle. And I have a black thing when it comes to music, according to my producer. And I told him, it's not a black thing. It's a good music thing. Right? It's like Prince. Yes. I love to sing Prince too, so.
Wow.
All the things, all the things.
All the things. Yes. Please give us that link. We'll add that link to the description if you guys are wanting to hear some of that. I know I am. I'm so excited. And thank you again for being on the show.
Oh my God. So much fun. And I love that word game thing. I might steal that from you.
You can. We stole it from someone else.
I'm inviting you right now in front of everybody to be on my Get Happy podcast. So
I would love that.
I'm going to set that up with you before, after them, you and I talk.
Okay. We'll talk. All right. All right. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next Thursday.
Bye,
Bye for now. Thanks.